encourages people to come here.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's one.
I really didn't get your point. I mean, can you elaborate?
So it depends on what's your question again?
My question is, so how would you basically, like all the different countries?
Like some people come with legal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what are your take on that? So people who are coming here legally with all the approvals from the government, from their own country, from the US government as well, should that immigration be also challenged? That's what my question is.
So it depends on what United States want itself to be. That's my answer.
Actually, I think there should not be a contest on that because they're legally entering the country. But of course, it depends on the case. For example, some people, even though they enter the country legally, they might not have a green card. So Louis Spencer is actually fighting for a green card for these children. So yeah, there should not be a problem. But again, it's like case. It depends on the case.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Great. I think it's a very, very debatable topic, and I mean, if you want, we can debate it for hours, but we're just running out of time, so we just have to move to the next topic now, which is on the options analysis, and this was team 4, right? So what about team 3? What would be your options analysis for child abuse in Georgia? Can you please be a bit louder? I can't hear you. I still can't hear you, I'm sorry.
The tutor, Anderson, who abused children should admit his guilt and apologize to the children's parents. The director should disclose the fact immediately to related child abuse office, and the daycare center should select tutors more carefully, and children should be educated properly to improve their self-protection awareness. And once that the advice I made, they should tell their parents.
Okay. So what would be some of the ways that teachers could be taken into account? Like what would be some of the measures that the organizations can actually take? Do you guys think over that as well? Like you just mentioned that the teachers should be screened in a way. Is that what you meant?
Actually, we know the child abuse is happening in this daycare center. She knows that she didn't report it, so she should report to the related organization this whole this. But she should protect those children that she didn't, and just let this case happen.
But what would you think? What should the organization do in this case? So you did mention what the child should do, but what should the organization do in this case?
Also, diversity of awareness of tutors, and also to make the assessment of these tutors more strict on such issues.
You mean to say when they hire tutors, they should have a better process to screen them?
Right.
Okay. Okay. Great.
How to get along with children more properly.
So basically spending more on training and basically having better due diligence processes to hire them. Okay, great. Thanks. So we'll now move to the decision analysis. What about team 2? What would be your decision in case of Howard getting sued for racial discrimination?
So our decision for this one is covered. I mean, the case is still not decided by the court yet, so we don't know what the law would require the university to do. perspective, we think Harvard should stay its current policy, which is admit students including racial considerations, because we think currently there are still many, so realistically there are still many inequalities between different races. So admitting students with racial basis could definitely help eliminate those inequalities and also promote the social fairness.
But how should Harvard deal with this allegation?
Because this decision is more from the ethical perspective, and also so we think by continuing on this policy, Harvard can get more social support on this allegation, and therefore it could increase its probability or chances to win this lawsuit.
But what about, like, let's say if Howard actually found that they were involved in racial discrimination, so what's the objective of coming up with some social support right now if they know that they have done something wrong? Like, what is the point that they spend on, let's say, coming up with some social initiatives to, like, improve their image if they have done something wrong? Shouldn't they, like, really investigate into the matter and then come up with a fair investigation to see whether something was done wrong?
Well, there's no evidence to prove Harvard have race discrimination during the admission process.
Right.
But there's suspicion. And Harvard has its own explanation. It's based on personality score.
Okay.
And the Asian students usually get the lower score in this part. So they decide to raise the academic score to them.
So if you are in the position of, let's say if you are the dean of Howard Business School, what would you do with this case?
We covered about like one policy. We don't think this is a right or wrong problem. We think it's like right problem. So for each perspective, they it always have like shortage from each perspective. If we keep our policy right now, probably some Asian American students would like disagree with our policy. But if we change our policy, there's like for other racial students like black people, they don't have like higher education as Asian students, so they probably like even lower. Probably they're weaken their education, so probably they will disagree with the new policy. So as for admission, Harvard admission, we think they could like keep their own policy.
What's their own policy?
Based on the race.
So what do you mean to say is that they include people based on race? That's their current policy? Or that's not the current policy?
This is a current policy, but we don't want to conclude that it's right or wrong.
But you have to take, so the whole point of this exercise is that you have to come to a decision.
Yeah.
So what do you decide then?
Right. Our conclusion is like keep the current environment.
Okay, cool, thank you. Now let's come to the summary. So each team would just provide in less than 25 words the summary of their case. We'll start with team 1 now.
The university should apologize to the public and pay compensation.
I can't hear you. I'm just standing very close to it. Still I'm
Sorry about that. Okay, I was done. The university should apologize to the public, pay compensation to the affected female applicants, and make the process of entrance transparent to eliminate sexual discrimination.
Okay.
That's all.
Does that fall under the 25-word limit?
Yeah. 24.
Okay, great. Thank you. What about team 2?
We think the school should stay in current admission policy because it is the best way to ensure admission fairness and promote social conscience.
Okay. So we are looking for a summary which basically includes everything, but that's okay. I mean, maybe the rest of the groups can kind of summarize by just giving a brief about what the case is and then coming to a decision, which basically covers everything and not just the decision. So when you are putting that on the blackboard, I think you can just improve it like that. What about team 3?
The two tutors should admit their guilt and apologize to children's parents, and the daycare center should educate children properly.
Okay. Thanks. One small suggestion that I want to make is, and this is slightly different from the topic that we are discussing here, but another objective of this class is actually that, like whenever you are speaking out, you should always turn to the person that you are talking to and then speak. So what I'm observing with everyone is that everybody is looking at their laptops and not really looking at the rest of the people in the group or in the classroom or me. So if you have any business settings going forward, people would really appreciate if you look into their eyes and then talk rather than look into your phones or your laptops, because it just distracts people, and so just take care of that whenever you are in any business setting or when you are attending school going forward. Okay, what about team 4?
Maybe she can do more propaganda in the paper regarding her portfolio activities, and she can also help more people and improve this kind of immigrants in equality in society.
Okay, great. What about team 5?
Google should not offer Excel packages for those who break company's value and principles. Instead, Google should help victims to pursue their rights.
Okay. Thanks. And are we left with any team? We left with team 6, right?
The court should ensure the teacher gets equal opportunity to be employed afterwards, and push the laws for protection of the LGBT minority groups.
Can you say that again, please?
The court should ensure the teacher gets equal opportunity to be employed afterwards, and push the laws for protection of the LGBT groups.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah.
Isn't the decision supposed to be about the main moral actor? So what I'm trying to say is that the court does not seem to be the main moral actor in that case.
In which case are you talking?
The sixth.
So, what is your point?
My point is that shouldn't the decision or the shouldn't the decision be about what the moral actor should do and not the other stakeholders?
So this is kind of a little. I mean, you can take positions actually here,
Okay.
and then you can see it from. I mean, obviously, what you're saying is right. That is one angle to look at it, but since this field, since this whole discussion is so broad,
Yeah.
it really doesn't. I mean, you can look at it from the angle of some other stakeholders as well. But as far as you are achieving the goal of identifying the social conscience angle, I think you are fine. So with that, we will now move to the second part of the class, which basically is about the newborn case and all the readings that you guys had to do for today's class. And we now ask team 2 to basically start their activities. And so we basically have two options. If you want to have a break right now, we can take a break for about 10 minutes and we can go until 11. Or if you want to take a break in between your session, that's also fine. That's totally up to the team to decide.
We're going
can start now and then
Yeah.
just take a 5-minute break.
They want breaks. They want breaks, so we'll take the break.
We'll take a 5-minute break and then we'll start at 9:45.
I have donuts, donuts here. Professor Milter said that he brings donuts every day, and I better do that. Maybe he was kidding me. Well, help yourself. Please.
从哪拿呀？这个是我喜欢小的那种。我已经好久没吃这个跟 crispy。等一下，所以现在还是今天可以吃啊？不是啊，不是如何那个吗？我就不懂，但是这个不是没有外的地方可以吃。对啊，我也没有可以吃，我这个也没有啊，我不知道为什么，搞不懂。今天下午就要去，他跟我约了4点半，就是他先是 consultation， 然后8点，就在 M Street 挺近的。因为选一个镜头，不像如果我真要做，他妈的我要打车嘛。那是什么？那个是什么？那个是我本来就是想做那个蕾丝边儿服那个，然后他正好有那个后期做，他对对吧？那我就最舒服了。然后还以为做什么都，然后他正好有那个 cool stuff 那个，他正好有，然后因为我看到你知道他是什么美容机构吗？对，他类似于他他做好多的，而且重点是你知道摄图，你知道他有一个网站超级破，然后我就超级放心，然后还有3家分店的。你先去。
If your number is released by some organizations, you can buy your number in a very cheap price. If you want them to
Hi.
No, you can ask.
No, I'm good.
I mean, so I don't have Oh, okay. Now, actually, it's now their turn to kind of lead the discussion.
That's good. Oh, good, so I can hang out here for you.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was just sending that thing to you. Now, so send that.
可以吃一起啊，上午9点6点。
Hi. Thank you. This is really great to teach. I mean, to be a TA. I hope you see it as just another experience, another different kind of.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, teaching. I could see you doing that.
Sorry?
I could see you teaching more. Would you like that whole idea?
I mean, I love education. I always have a quest for learning and, you know, it's like always something new whenever I can. You just drop it, so.
I'm glad. Yeah, I hope you think about it really.
I couldn't attend the first
When I was
class.
in industry, I taught part-time at Hopkins
Because like I told her, I knew that I have
Maryland. Hopkins is the engineering, computer science guys. It's fun to be an adjunct, even if you're working in industry or something. Yeah, so, good.
I mean, I of course like have much experience teaching, so this is my second class. But I'm just gaining more experience.
Good. I think you do a really good job.
Thank you.
Please, please kind of keep it in the back of your mind.
I'll
You know,
time to take.
it can be really rewarding. I mean, the students,
But then-
are just fantastic. You know, I mean, they're just
It's really annoying this course.
so many different ideas in there.
access to
I keep up with so many online
also to
now that what they're doing. It's fun to take stuff from them.
这样可以吗？那主要上3选这个的干嘛？新郎都有点秀，有点秀呢。康复呀，贼水，我讲真的贼水。新郎在上课那个泡妞的，就是我很轻松，因为我有新两个人有到时候就报他。你也喜欢康复？我像Spring 2的Spring 2，我忘了呀。康复说不小的，那什么？
Yeah, okay, so we can start. So, you guys remember during this session, whenever you are speaking up, please raise your name tag so that I'm able to track on who is speaking. And if somebody doesn't do that, then obviously I'm not able to track who is speaking, and that basically is a loss in your participation grade. So please be aware of that. Whenever you're speaking up, please hold your name tag as high as you can so that I can read the name.
Hello everyone, it's our pleasure to offer a seminar talk about social conscious this week. And this is our leader in the last one, 军理授权集团 and 集团 and 西岐照. And basically our seminar will divide into 4 parts. The first is to explain what is social conscious. And after that, I will discuss the definition among the Harvard case. And next, we'll do a little discussion about the pool of with the various dimensions of the dilemmas. And the last is our requirement for the class. Discuss about 2-point case. First, we need to warm up, do a warm-up activity for the class. Is talk about why we need the social conscious. And for the 5 groups, we want to make a really small group discussion to talk about what do you think for the social conscious. For example, for sympathy, responsibility, and morality. And after that, you could describe and build a situation to talk about without to talk about the situation without the social conscious. We will give you guys 30 minutes to build this discussion. So let's start.
Just use your imagination. What's social conscious related to respect for other people. Just conscious, so maybe one so maybe just when you are talking, our people just listen to what you say and talk about it. It's kind of it's moral, it's a respectiveness. Maybe when you talk with your family, you will ask them to talk first.
Going ahead with a project that you might want to destroy that, like to make products.
But your name is pronounced like written like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm just keeping a track of it.
I think we have two cases.
You need social conscience because at the end of the day, if you don't have social conscience, you might benefit, but then everyone else will lose. And it also means that you might also lose.
Okay guys, have you finished? Let's discuss from the first group.
Why do we need social conscience? Since because we need to in our society to maintain the fairness, equality, and justice. So a situation without the social conscience will be, in our case, in our lab case, so the female and male will be treated unequally for the job, for education. So they don't have the social conscience.
Basically, the discrimination among the female and male, right? Okay. So what about the second, the third? The third?
I think without social conscious might cause people die because there's a news a passenger in the bus and passed the stop, and she wants to stop the bus, but the driver is very in a hurry, they can't stop, so she just to beat the driver, and then and the driver can't control the bus, and the bus fell into the river, and everybody in the bus died.
Right. It's definitely a criminal, and I think there's like difference between the law and the social conscious. What we topic is like beside the law. Like if we have the law.
Actually, the woman not really break the law. Just want to argue with the driver.
Okay, that makes sense, because if she attacks the driver, that would be personal injury, so it could be breaking the law, and that would be kind of different from the social conscious one. Okay, but your example is good.
The next group, like 4.
We came to the case of an example in which a business tries to make profit by creating chemicals, and even though the chemical is known to harm the environment. So in this case, we need social conscience because even if you don't have social conscience, what will happen is you might make profits in the short term, but in the long term, everyone is going to lose because the environment is going to be polluted.
So you're like probably very similar to the DuPont case.
Exactly.
But I have a question. Is the chemical illegal or regulated or not?
I don't know. I just imagined the case. So.
If the chemical is regulated or it is illegal, that would be a law problem, not a social problem.
Yeah.
So another thing here to notice is, I mean, that's a good case that you guys are coming up with, but key here is to identify, let's say if you are in the shoes of a company and you know that your company is producing chemicals like that, what can your company do to ensure that the environment is protected? Did you guys think over that?
I think the company can, for example, look for alternatives that would like reduce the amount of environmental damage.
Did you guys think anything about the corporate social responsibility?
Yeah, but not consciously.
So a lot of firms, what they do is, although they are involved in, let's say, producing chemicals like these, but at the same time they try to maintain their brand image by doing something towards the society, which ensures that they are really committed to protecting the environment, and that really becomes a part of their strategy as well. So within the whole social conscience angle, I think it's very critical for you to think from that angle as well. Yeah, carry on.
Okay, let's move on to the what?
Why we need social conscience? Like for individual, we need social conscience because one person will influence like the whole community, like the bus case they talk about. And for the community, and the other one is the community. They have like the company with in our life case is about the Google. So if without social conscience, Google can give the exit packages worth $1 million for the person who break the company's value and principle. But and then other employees will lose confidence in Google, and then maybe Google will like
So you're trying to say the
disappearing.
Google, lost the reputation?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The last group.
Okay, so I think the reason we need social conscience is social conscience allows people to act morally, and in this way, people or a group of people would not try to suffer another group. So one example we can think of is what Nazi do to the Jews in the World War II. Yeah. So what they are doing is definitely like suffering other people, and to my expect not very moral. Yeah.
Yeah. And after you guys already talked about why we need the social conscious, let us to discuss what we think about this topic and introduce some brief introduction. Let's Suki to talk about this one.
Well, actually, we have a question. How did social conscience come? So here's a brief history about social conscience. And from the early Victorian era, the people who invented the concept of social conscience is to give the rights or power to the ordinary people instead of the centralized government. And although this method doesn't work properly, because some of the people in charge is lack of experiences and cause inefficiency, but it is the earliest stage of the social conscience, which try to deal with the conflict and unfairness in the society. So basically, the social conscious object is to deal with the unfairness in the society. And move to the mid and post World War II, social conscious became more forms like peacefully protest and strikes, and attempting to shine a light on the misdeed by alerting the public. So that is the history of social conscience. And next, let's move to the text.
So, what is social conscience? It is a sense of responsibility or concern about the problems and injustice of our society, and which we can also call social inequalities or social disparities. And while our
moral value, we usually help people in need. However, moral distress is always happening. So it occurs when one person recognizes its moral responsibility in the situation. And to neutralize that, we need to develop our moral resilience, which is the capacity to navigate the moral distress. So the most important point is to know who you are and what you stand for in life or in a society. And we will discuss several cases about social conscience and moral resilience in some aspects.
So there's another question. What do you guys think about the difference between equality and fairness? Anyone has any ideas?
Or you guys want to go?
Yeah, what's up?
I'm just confused. You know, isn't equality really stands for being fair or fairness? So it's kind of is that like really a versus situation where equality is opposed, like is on the opposite of fairness? Aren't they?
They're
really
not opposite side, but there's a difference. They can't be the same in certain situations.
I think the equality mainly means that everyone gets the equal share, and fairness is just you evaluate a person's and give their benefit based on their work. It's like to more use a evaluation, and doesn't necessarily mean everyone get their equal share.
It's just my own opinion. I think equality is more objective and fairness is a little bit related to emotion, or moral is more subjective. So that's my opinion.
Would you explain a little more about that objective and subjective part?
Because equality is more related to the fact, and fairness probably can be affected by personal, emotional, or their feeling. That's what I
Okay, now let's take a look about this picture. So, can anyone interpret this picture?
So basically for equality, everyone gets the same share of whatever that the thing is, and then for fairness, so for those who maybe have less money, they will be getting like more compensations to achieve the same level as all others. Kind of that.
Yeah, fairness is more like people from different stock points get the same reward, and equality is more like give people the same opportunity and let's say what they can do. And I'd also like to discuss more about the Harvard admission rubric case. So what do you guys think about the Harvard admission case related to equality and fairness?
So it's definitely about fairness. They're thinking about fairness, not equality, because they are helping the minority they think.
I think Asian students in almost fairness in Harvard University. Because based on the regulation of the Harvard University, they will evaluate the personality of the different students. I mean, they will give every student with different evaluation, and based on the evaluation, you will have the different choices. But I think the Asian students
Yeah, but how did they design the evaluation rubric?
I think
Is it according to the equality or pyramid?
I think it's what based on the Asian students want more fairness. Right. Because they think the equality is not very, because they, based on the equality, that evaluation is not very benefit for them. Right. I think much is my opinion. Yeah. So I think they want a fairness. I mean, based on the different circumstances, people will choose like which one is more beneficial for them. I think both the equality and the fairness is very moral to the society or to people. So people will like choose which one is more beneficial to them, and to make that to more moral part. I think that is why Asian students choose the college.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because people like to think what they act for, what they advocate for is more moral to for their own sake.
Yes.
Move on.
So let's move on to our first dilemma. It is about the prominent Chinese TV host, Zhu, accused of sexual harassment. And so let's first watch a video to know more about this case.
因为那把手，他想从那个裙子里面伸进去，但是因为相当于那个裙子是他膝盖往上的时候，他就发现作为伸到哪他就伸进去了，他就是一只手拽我，然后另外一只手就是隔着衣服就是在摸我的身体那种上半身，就是下半身这种。他说我很早就注意到你，他就用两个手然后扣住我的脑袋，然后最后他减轻了我的嘴。这个过程可能就5分钟左右吧。或者是在哪一站哪，就是他们只要一看到他们就会说赶紧换台，而且他也没有办法跟别的亲戚解释说为什么他们不想看到这边，也跟我有一样焦虑的地方，他能不能够通过一个正当的一个程序，让对方付出一个应有的代价？但是我现在心里可能是希望司机告诉可以让这个司法程序更快的结果，我们大家法庭上见。
Here is a realistic want to group discussion for like 5 minutes?
It's like this leader that way,
but when so many people they said these people should be punished, they get more penalty, and it's always that people will
I like some of this various settings they're in, about environment and how others feel so I think I like the areas of the leadership thing to get them thinking about what they should expect other people's positions regarding basic. But I think the time we all learn this with time too. Some of the things that went on in the past are just unbelievable. I think there was a popular movie in the 40s called The Day Before Sarah. Meaning of the word, words even change meaning over time. Some of the things that are considered acceptable 30 years ago, in companies were all male-oriented. It was just so. For us to learn as a society, it means that there have been changes. I think there's a good change, but I think at local levels, I'd like everybody to know
yes, this might be issues regarding the person integrity, but the most conscious is different or getting society decide if you can get like fear penalty like the normal person, and everyone is like the person in life.
Okay, so let's discuss. Anyone want to share their opinions?
Okay, so for seeing it from a unfair case, well, of course, one ordinary person will get penalties, and where a more famous people, or a person, he or she wouldn't get punished for the crime he or she committed. But it is also like from some angle, it is also very fair, because if you are just an ordinary person, you will get punished for the crime, but then you wouldn't be accused or get very infamous throughout the society on the internet, where a famous person like the host here, he would be kind of he would have to endure all the internet violence that's from social media platforms, like saying him like actually saying very bad things about him, and also he would get from the on his job he wouldn't like get any new shows after everything happened. So on some level it is kind of fair that they are getting different punishment, but it's kind of fair from my point of view.
I think I agree with Paul because I just searched online because there are several sexual harassment case in the U.S. too, in the U.S. and the consequence, the aftermath after the accusation, the famous people always get resigned from their position or they will have to encounter the internet violence as well. So I think there's another way of penalty for those famous people.
So, what kind of determinant do you think had to cause this situation?
I think one is for sexual harassment, for legislation process, it's hard to get the evidence, the actual evidence for the accusation. And if you think there's a social determinant, if just famous people have more relation or more power for to prevent the process go through. So it will be hard for the court or the investigation to get to the to the facts.
I think power is definitely part of what the justice have.
I think the question is a little bit tricky because we actually don't pay much attention to this ordinary person because there's not much news for like normal person got like sexual harassment. But for the public character like me, but there are a lot of news about these things. But for ordinary person, we probably don't know how the process they like do with their abuse. So that's why we like realize it's much harder to bring the justice when it's related to famous people. But the reason for that because we don't really know the fact for the ordinary person because there are much news about it.
So in response to your question, we actually did a little research before preparing this slides, and I read through some of the court papers for those like ordinary people, sexual harassment cases. So generally it takes, I mean on average it takes about 2 to 3 years for the court to decide the final penalty for that ordinary person who commit sexual harassment or even rape. But for this famous host case, I think it's been more than 3 years from it happens to now. If I didn't remember wrong, it's in 2014, and it's about 4 years now. But as the news just said, this case was just put into the court like several months ago. So from this time difference, you can definitely see there is a difference between the ordinary people and the famous people here.
Yeah.
That's okay? Yeah.
But that's being specific to China in that case, right? Like the number of years for the court to make a decision is specific to China here, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
to those Chinese cases.
Okay. And that would like really vary from country to country as well, like because each government has a different set of rules to follow in terms of how fast their courts are, right?
Yeah, different judicial process.
Right, right.
So if we compare ordinary person's average year for the cost, and Zhuzhen is also in China, and ordinary person 2 to 3 years is also in China. So it's comparable.
What do you think, when it's a case of a famous person, what do people feel about whether justice for the famous person is served by them
no longer having their position of power and fame. So they might lose their big salary and their celebrity, and some have expressed opinions that, well, they're paying the price for it. It's not through the courts, but they're paying a high price because they were famous, they had lots of money and so on, and now they no longer have that. But do people feel that is justice?
I could think like famous people why they earn so much money and why they earn such good reputation is because they need to pay much than the other ordinary people because they maybe sacrifice the other stuff to bring this good reputation and much money. So as for those famous people, I think they need to pay much more than their reputation. They earn that much money, but they need to be responsible for those parts. And I think that their private and their behavior in the public must be maximized, or so their little mistakes must be maximized for many times than the ordinary people. I think for what Jia and Wenhao said, their punishment is their internet assaultment, right? But I'm not very agree with their opinion because Zhijun, the famous house, he's very famous. He need to pay more and be responsible for those parts.
I disagree with almost everyone here. So basically, the thing is, let's say that a celebrity is accused, right? Now it's possible that the accusation could be wrong, but even if the accusation is wrong, the celebrity will have to face the consequences in the sense that he will have to, he will receive bad comments on social media and everything. And I disagree with you in the sense that, let's say the celebrity did actually commit the crime. In that case, just it should not absolve him of the crime just because he has to face difficult situations on the social media. That does not automatically absolve him of what he has done. He should go through the exact same court proceedings as any other person.
Well, regarding your question, I kind of agree with what Ashish said. So personally, I think law is law. If you commit a crime, you should go through the process. But I think there is still chances that people have massive resources. They can hire the best lawyers in the world. I think there was a case in the US before, but I couldn't remember the name. So a guy, he definitely committed the crime. Everybody think he committed the crime. But he had the best lawyer team in the world, so he just got rid of the crime. So I think that's possible, but you still have to go through the court process. Yeah, that's what I think.
Equal justice under the law.
Can you please be louder? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Sure.
And also raise your name tag, please. Thank you.
And I agree with this point because diverse people they have stronger background, so if they really commit a crime, they have chances that they not be sued by the public, but because of that, they have more to lose, like their reputation, their jobs, and so if they commit a crime, they will rise the awareness of social media and the public. So they are also a kind of bad.
Yeah, just like another thing I want to bring up. It's not like my personal opinion. It's just like the thing I want to mention. So on a quality basis, where say in this case we have one ordinary person, he got fined for $200 for speeding tickets. And then we got another billionaire, and then he got fined for a speeding ticket for $200. And then maybe, well, this rich person, he can get rid of the ticket by the power or whatever he has, and then not paying the fine. Where the ordinary person, he maybe most likely will have to pay for the fine. So they are. It's definitely not equal where they have to